The pursuit of greatness takes family ties to a whole new level as Adrian Luna Martinetti sets his sights on a historic goal inside the octagon. He is not just fighting for himself this Saturday against veteran Davy Grant at UFC Fight Night 274, but carrying the massive dream of reuniting with his twin brother Andres under the UFC banner. It is a rare sibling bond that has taken them from Ecuador to the top of the sport, and Adrian is ready to show the world exactly why they are a duo to watch.
Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
We are diving deep into the technical chess match of UFC Fight Night with an expert breakdown from Liam Heslin of Roto Grinders. This card is all about the clash of eras, featuring promising talents like Julia Polastri against high-level specialists like Talita Alencar. Liam is peeling back the curtain on the betting lines and DFS landscapes, analyzing exactly how these rising stars and seasoned veterans match up in a night that promises fireworks from the opening prelims to the main event. The intensity at the apex is set to reach a boiling point with a stacked card of must-see matchups for UFC Vegas 116. We are looking at a lineup featuring everyone from the explosive Aljamain Sterling facing off against the technical precision of Youssef Zalal, to heavy hitters like Montel Jackson and the submission threat of Mara Bueno Silva. With odds shifting and underdog opportunities hidden in every corner, we have the complete scope on who has the edge, who is looking to break out, and where the value lies for every fight on the card. Finally, we are looking back at the legendary path of Gilbert Durinho Burns as Kamaru Usman opens up about his former training partner and title opponent. After a storied career fighting the absolute best in the division, Gilbert Burns is stepping away from the cage, but the question remains if this retirement will actually hold. It is a fascinating look at the life of a true warrior, so make sure you are caught up on all the latest updates by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel with notifications turned on. Imagine sharing a dream so big that reaching it yourself feels incomplete unless the person standing next to you reaches it too. That's exactly the reality for Adrian Luna Martinetti, a rising star who is currently staring down the barrel of his massive UFC debut. But for Adrian, this isn't just about the belt or the spotlight. It's about a unique, sibling-driven goal that we've rarely seen in the history of the sport. Sibling duos in the UFC are like unicorns. We've had the legendary Nagara brothers, but beyond that, it's a rarity. Adrian is dead set on changing that. He's looking at his twin brother, Andres, who sits at an impressive 16-1 record, and he's convinced that 2024 is the year they finally rewrite the history books together. It's a bold vision, especially considering Andres was inches away from a contract back in 2022, narrowly dropping a split decision to Alessandro Costa, a guy who is now thriving on the big stage. You have to respect that level of brotherhood, especially when they've been grinding side by side from their roots in Ecuador to their current home at Intram Gym in Tijuana. And here's the kicker. When Adrian says he wants his brother there, he means it. In a world where individual glory usually reigns supreme, Adrian claims that seeing his twin brother walk into the octagon would actually mean more to him than winning a UFC title himself. That is the kind of bond that makes you untouchable in the cage. But first, Adrian has a veteran to deal with. This Saturday, he steps into the spotlight against Davy Grant, a seasoned fighter who knows every trick in the book. Adrian isn't just looking to win. He's looking to make a statement by doing what no one has done before, handing Grant a knockout loss. He's been sharpening every weapon in his arsenal, and if the opening is there, he's ready to pounce. So, will we see the birth of a new twin legacy in the UFC this weekend? Hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments if you think the Martinetti brothers are about to take over the division. After all, greatness is best when it's shared. Ever wondered why some of the most technical fights on a card happen away from the main event spotlight? We're diving into the UFC Fight Night. Sterling versus Zalal, and while the marquee names might be the talk of the summer, This card is a hidden goldmine for anyone who loves betting on gritty, high-stakes matchups. I'm Liam, and today we're breaking down the dynamics of youth versus veteran experience, starting with a clash that's practically begging for your attention. Julia Polastri versus Talita Alencar. Let's talk about psycho Julia Polastri. At 28, she's a human highlight reel with an 8-fight finishing streak that tells you everything you need to know. She doesn't go to the judges if she doesn't have to. She's landing over 6 strikes per minute, and her aggression is relentless. But here's the reality check. She's got a leaky guard and suspect takedown defense. When she hits the mat, things get messy, and that is exactly where Talita Alencar comes in. Alencar is a BJJ world champion who treats the canvas like her personal playground. At 35, she's in a win-now mode, looking to use her elite grappling to shut down Polastri's offense before it even starts. The concern for Alencar, her gas tank. She struggles to maintain that high-intensity output for a full 15 minutes, and if she doesn't secure the sub early, the damage-heavy pace of Polastri could leave her staring at the ceiling of the octagon. From a betting perspective, the line feels surprisingly wide given how volatile this is. Polastri has the edge in durability and damage, but she's never faced a ground specialist as clinical as Alencar. I'm seeing this as a true binary outcome. Either Polastri batters her way to a finish, or Alencar finds the neck and ends the night in the first or second. This isn't just a fight, it's a tactical chess match where one mistake costs you everything. Do you think the veteran's experience outweighs the younger fighter's output? Drop a comment below with your pick and let me know who you're backing. Make sure to subscribe for the full breakdown on the rest of the card, and remember, in this sport, fortune favors the prepared. Are you ready to turn those cage-side predictions into real wins? UFC Vegas 116 is heading back to the Apex, and this card is absolutely loaded with sneaky underdog spots and some fascinating stylistic clashes that are going to keep us on the edge of our seats. Let's dive into the breakdown. First up, we have Ryan Spann, a guy who is arguably the most volatile fighter in the division. We know the Superman narrative, but frankly, if he doesn't get the finish in the first, he tends to crumble. Facing off against Buchecha, a BJJ legend with ironclad toughness, I just don't see Spann maintaining his composure once the wrestling pressure ramps up. It's a pass for me on Spann. Moving to the main event, Sterling versus Zalal is the technical chess match we've been waiting for. While I have a lingering concern that Zalal's jab could keep the distance, the small confines of the Apex cage play right into Aljamain Sterling's hands. With 17 takedowns in his last 3, the Funkmaster is going to close the gap and force the ground game where Zalal simply doesn't have the answers. Speaking of pressure, keep your eyes on Chitara Montague. She's a relentless bully, and while she leaves her chin a bit too exposed, her ground and pound is ferocious enough to make Mara Bueno Silva's current slump look even worse. She is a prime candidate for your GPP lineups, even if there's a bit of boom or bust risk involved. Looking at Montel Jackson, I think he's in for a rude awakening. Rayani Barcelos is a master of staying composed, and he has the grappling chops to capitalize the second Jackson gives up his back, a bad habit that usually spells disaster against high-level jiu-jitsu players. In the rest of the card, look for McVeigh to bully his way through Cedric Dumas, and don't sleep on Polastri, who is that rare, aggressive strawweight who actually looks for the finish. Finally, I'm fading Rafa Garcia against Jared Gordon. Gordon is a master at baiting opponents into heavy counters, and I expect him to land the fight-altering blow here. Before you lock in your bets, make sure to head over to our DraftKings UFC lineup optimizer to play with your combinations and check out our full list of MMA best bets and sportsbook promos. The lines are tight, the stakes are high, and the Apex rarely disappoints. Who are you betting on to leave the cage with their hand raised? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more expert breakdowns. Let's make some money this weekend. In the cutthroat world of MMA, friendships are often the first casualty of ambition, but for Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns, the bond runs deeper than the octagon floor. After a legendary career that saw him take on every shark in the welterweight division, Gilbert Durinho Burns has officially stepped away. But is he really done? Kamaru Usman isn't so sure. On the latest episode of the Pound for Pound podcast, Usman sat down with Henry Cejudo to reflect on the legacy of a man he once called his go-to training partner at Blackzilians. You know, these guys were the perfect yin and yang, Usman the relentless wrestler, Burns the world-class grappler. They sharpened each other to a point where they eventually became obstacles in one another's path to greatness. Henry Cejudo put it best. Nobody, and I mean nobody, in the 170-pound division has fought a tougher gauntlet than Burns. From Usman and Chimaev to Woodley and beyond, Durinho never ducked a challenge. But after a tough five-fight skid, the 39-year-old finally hung up the gloves. Usman, however, offers a grounded, veteran perspective on the retirement itch. He knows exactly how it goes. The house gets quiet, the gym routine fades, and that competitive fire starts to smolder again. He warns that once the routine of a decade disappears, the temptation to just spar or stop by the gym becomes a siren song that's hard to ignore. Even though Burns is eyeing a future in fighter management and insists he's content, we've seen enough legends walk back to the cage to know that the door is never truly locked in this sport. Regardless of what comes next, Usman leaves us with a heartfelt tribute to a brother-in-arms. They collided for the gold, they moved on, and they kept their respect intact. It's a classic story of growth in a brutal business. If you enjoyed this look at the brotherhood behind the violence, hit that subscribe button and join our community. Do you think Gilbert Burns is really finished, or is the comeback inevitable? Let us know in the comments below, because in MMA, the only thing more permanent than a knockout is the desire to prove you've still got it.